Hello folks, welcome back. I know it's been a little while. This is going to be layout update number 4 for my horseshoe curve layout. So I've actually gotten a fair amount done since the last time I posted. So I figured I'd take some time to share with you guys and see what you think. As you can see, I actually got the bridge in, which I was working on last time. So it's set on these 3D printed abutments that I made. I've got a second set of them here that I printed in green because it's what I had at the time, but the final set is underneath them right now. I'm still waiting for the weather to warm up a little bit. I've got to take the aluminum bridge outside and paint it once it gets warm enough to spray paint. So, and once I do that, I'll actually drill out a couple of holes underneath on this lip here. You can see on this one, I put a couple of machine screws down through them to actually hold it all in place. But as it is now, set in the foam, it's pretty solid, not really going anywhere. So, other than that, I actually went and I have most of the track on the layout, I guess we'll call it adhered down. I ended up using just cheap latex caulk to glue the track in place, with the hopes that it'll be easily removable if I have to change anything. But it's glued from this point all the way around into the tunnel and then back to here. So that gets to the next thing I've been working on. I got some hot wire foam tools, and I've been working on cutting a foam for both the tunnel scene and in the actual backdrop and horseshoe curve down this end. So this is actually my first attempt at trying to cut a mountain profile with the tools. It's a little bit challenging, a little more challenging than I thought it would be to use the hot wire tools, but the best method I found, if you guys are getting into working with foam and hot wire tools, is just start cutting, because that's pretty much what I did with this corner. It created a little bit of waste, but I spent almost a week trying to figure out exactly how to cut it to make it look right, and I did this in about an hour. Just like I said, I just got the tools out and started cutting until I found what looks good. So I don't think this looks too bad. Now obviously none of this is attached right now. It'll all be glued together and glued down, and then it'll actually have plaster cloth and or like sculpt mold over it to smooth it out, so all the ridges and sharp edges will be smoothed in before it gets covered with foliage. So still trying to figure out how I'm going to blend the backdrop into the actual mountain. I'm almost thinking I might do a painted backdrop on this wall instead of doing the photo backdrops all the way around like I was originally planning. I might just do photo backdrops on the back wall. I can't really justify putting in a photo backdrop if only 3 or 4 inches of it's going to be visible. The photo backdrops are fairly expensive, so. And then coming down here, none of this is attached either. I just went and assembled it, or I went and set it on the table to check all my clearances and everything. I guess we're going to go inside. So I think I'm going to go up another 2 inches with it and then put the N scale loop on top of that. I'm going to figure out how to cut I got to figure out how to make a tunnel portal for that side, because out of the box the Woodland Scenic ones don't fit up against the backdrop. I'll either have to try to make one out of foam, or I was thinking maybe sand down one side of the Woodland Scenic ones outside once the weather warms up, which should hopefully be soon here. It's been about 40-50 the last couple of weeks, but hopefully spring will get here soon. Yeah, the yard's all in. It turned out pretty nice. The yard's not huge, but it'll work for what I had in mind. And then the other big thing I did this past Sunday is I actually did a good portion of the wiring. So I think I'm under here. Should be able to see a little bit. This is the DCC bus that comes up from my portable layout where the command station is, and it goes into the bus up top. And then I've got one DS64 turnout controller on this side here, and this controls the 4 turnouts in the yard and the turnout that leads into the yard. Runs all the way around. There's a set of feeders here for I think 4 different tracks. And it comes around to here and it goes up under the curve. And I don't know if you can see that. That's getting pretty dark. But there's another set of feeders that goes in there. That's also where the little auxiliary power supply for the 12 volt DC bus, my accessory bus, will be mounted up under here. So that'll be where the accessory power supply goes in. And that actually provides power to the DS64s so they don't have to run off the track bus. And then also for like the signals and lighting I want to do around the layout. So, and then over here there's another DS64, but this one's pretty hard to see. I got the locomotive shelf really close underneath it, so this is all in too. Picked up some interesting Conrail memorabilia a couple weeks back, so that's decorating the room now, in addition to the stuff I already had before. I guess that's about it for now. See, I started profiling the baseboard too. So, actually, last time when I left you, I still had to attach the foam board down, and I did, and I smoothed out all the joints in the foam board with joint compound, just drywall joint compound, which does not cut with the hot wire tools very well, but you kind of chip out the joint compound, and then you can cut the foam around it okay. And then I paint it with latex paint. That way when I ballast, I'm not actually going to ballast in between the rails, but I am going to ballast in between the track sections. So I do like down this slope and up the other side and a little bit on the outside, just to kind of blend the hard edges in so it doesn't look like they're hard plastic road bed. I'm not going to go too overboard with this. Okay. Like I said, the entire idea is to make it so I can remove it easily if we decide to move, or if I would decide I want to do something different with the layout. So, but the idea of painting it before I put down the track was in case the ballast misses an area, I don't have bright pink showing up through. I mean, this kind of gray tan, it's actually more tan in person than it is gray, but at least that's more of a natural earth color and not a bright pink. So that's about what I've got so far. So the big thing is I gotta get the bridge back outside, painted, and installed permanently, because once I do that, I'll actually be able to smooth this all over with the joint compound and blend it all in too. So it'll, once it's ballasted, it won't look like this is here. It'll actually look like the bridge sits right here. And I had some 3D printed bridge shoes actually. It'll make it look like it's actually sitting on bridge shoes right here, rather than what it's really doing, all the weight sitting back here on this lip. So I guess the only thing left to do now is to actually run a little bit. This is a fairly new addition. This is a GP15 I picked up a couple of months ago. This is actually the replacement for the Walthers GP15s I had in the previous video. So this is a Athearn unit, which is quite a bit nicer. Once I set down the throttle, I'll put my other hand back on the camera, and that might smooth it out a little bit. Just one more thing. One more thing I almost forgot to mention. I actually want your guys' input on this, see what you think of it. I'm going to end up with this view of trains coming in and out of the curve when I'm done. And I'm actually considering putting an interlocking tower right here. So I'm actually, I think it's N-Scale Architect makes a model of MG Tower, which is actually located west of the real Horseshoe curve. So I know this isn't a prototypical placement of it. It's on the opposite side of the tracks and up the mountain quite a ways. But I'm considering putting it here, getting the kit and putting it here, just to have something to fill this spot and add a little bit more interest to the scene. But at the same time, don't really want it to ruin the view coming into the curve. So I'm kind of torn between keeping it nice and scenic and making it a little bit more interesting. So I wonder what your guys' thoughts are on it. So right now, ever since I planned the layout, this has been the one spot that I haven't really been sure what to do with, because it is just off the curve. And yeah, I mean, in real life there's a drop off in the road tunnel that goes under the curve, but there's no way to do that in this space. So I think it'll come out nice, and it's nice that I've got a little bit more time to work on it now, but with summer coming up and being able to get outside, it's probably going to slow down a little bit again. Anyways, thanks for tuning in again, guys. I really do appreciate people watching. So as you can see, it should be pretty nice when it's done, as far as just watching trains and pictures and video. Right, that's going to be it for now, guys. So, see you next time.